Hey gang, we got a new partner we're excited to tell you about that's doing something really unique in the game. As you know, we spend a lot of money, thousands of dollars a year for our kids to play the game that they love. But what's the game plan when something goes wrong and they get injured or something ends your season prematurely? You might get shortchanged financially when it comes to those registration fees that you've already paid. So to help protect your team registration fees, Get Palmy has created the Season Saver, which gives you peace of mind insurance. With Season Saver, parents like you can recoup unused team registration fees if any injury or illness keeps your kid off the ice. That's not something I've ever seen offered before. It covers players up to the age of 26, so don't worry, y'all fit into that category, and can pay up to $25,000. Their Season Saver plan really can come in handy since most of the teams don't have a refund policy. It only takes about 3 minutes to sign up, and they insure multiple sports. Check it out at getpalmy.com/OKPH. Again, that's GETPOMI.com/OKPH to check out the plans for Season Saver today. It's a really great idea, and we wanted to share it with this audience, which we care about so much. Thanks for taking a listen to that. We hope you check them out and enjoy this episode of Our Kids Play Hockey. Hello, hockey skaters and goalies around the world, and welcome back to another edition of the Ride to the Rink. Today, we're talking about screens. It's something I know your parents are on you about all the time. Your phone screens, TV screens, computer screens, any type of screen. And we've brought in an expert today. Larissa Mills is joining us today. Again, an expert in the space of screens and how often you should be using them, but also, and most importantly, how you should be using them. The truth is this, kids. Screens are not going everywhere. All of your parents know it, scares us to death because there's no way to get away from them, okay? And mobile devices, screens are part of your life. They're part of your future, and we totally understand that. So what we want to accomplish today, and this is why Larissa is here, is to discuss and talk to you about how to create a healthy screen routine. I've always liked saying that because it rhymes. And
Yep.
B, we're going to talk a little bit about just social feeds and how it's important to have a good social feed. What does that mean? But Larissa, let's start with a screen routine.
Okay.
Let's give those kids some quick, easy tips
Okay.
on just how to create something like that.
So it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how old you are, but you can do these 3 things daily. So when you get up in the morning, don't check your phone for 30 minutes or more. In fact, the longer you don't check it, the lower your cortisol and your good hormones will feel good. So you'll feel happier. And it won't make you feel like you're panicked. That's one thing you can do. The other thing is at night, before you go to bed, because you're going to put alarm clocks back in your rooms, you're going to take your phones out of your rooms and you're going to shut them off 1 hour before bed. The reason why is because our brains need an hour off light to sleep. But also, we don't like to see negative things before bed because that raises our nervous system, and our nervous system shakes every time we touch a phone. And if you're touching a phone 176 times a day, your brain at the end of the day is going, stop poking my brain, because our nervous systems are attached to our brain. So if you can shut your phones off 1 hour before bed, great. The other tip I'm going to give you for practices and games, really clearly, our best athletes who are connected on the ice the most, who have grit, intensity, clarity, they play in beast mode, which is a green light. If you touch your phones 20 minutes before you play, the first period, you will not be thinking about hockey. You'll be thinking about what you just did on your phone. So if we can move back, and our athletes at MG are doing it, 2 hours. So before you leave to go to the rink, there is no social media looking or video watching, because guess what? Your brain does not like dopamine. It does not like it. It feels like it does, but it actually slows down your thinking. So if you can shut your phones off 2 hours before you leave for a game or a practice, you will kill it. You will be outshining other people on the ice. You will be that kid gone down the ice and back and have that intensity. So if you can make sure you're turning your phones off an hour before bed and then shutting them off before your practices and games, right? And also in the morning, just delaying when you get up. That's 3 major changes that your body will you will love it. Your game will improve, but you will feel better. So Those are the three main ones. The little ones are, yeah. Did you want to add to that
Well,
there?
I just wanted to tap in real quick
Yeah, go,
because
go, go.
you mentioned dopamine, right? And for the kids listening, I think this is a really important point we
Yeah.
got to like say again.
Let's explain the bad
Yeah,
dopamine.
it may feel good when you pick up your phone. Like that's that dopamine hit. It's something your brain releases. Again, we don't have to go into the complete science of it. That says, "Oh, I like this," but it's not good for you. Okay, it's like eating too much candy, right? Like tastes great, you want it, right? But it's
But your
ruining your
liver hates
body.
it.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, yeah. So the other things you can do too is, and when you just mentioned it, you wanted me to talk about designing your social media to make you feel good.
Yes,
Well, clean it up. Make it work for you and make it feel like it's giving you a pep talk every time you touch it. If there's anything on your social media that makes you feel bad about yourself, delete it. Unfollow it right now. If there's anything on your social media that makes you question who you are, also delete it. That's a bad thing. If there's people that you don't like seeing their posts or things, can you block them?
right.
Can right? Because this is all about what you see on your phone, not anyone else, you. And if you want to keep your dopamine down and your nervous system relaxed, you need a positive experience on social media. And let me tell you, 90% of the time, nine out of every times we check our phones, it's a bad experience.
Right.
So let's set your phone up to be a more positive and at least a neutral experience. Not
Yeah.
We don't want anybody taking your energy away.
Yeah, and Larissa, I'll add to that too. A
Yeah,
couple of
go.
things. One is that I totally agree with you about auditing your social media and taking away negative aspects, and keeping motivational, inspirational, positive aspects. But we all have to also keep in mind social media is not real, right? It can become a human highlight reel. So when we say motivational and inspirational, you really need to know what that means, right? Because you'll rarely find someone showing you their mistakes online, but that
Nope,
is a
never.
very real part of life that you have to be aware of.
Mhm.
So if your feed's full of great hockey players making great plays and that inspires you, that's great. But you got to remember, you got to put the work in, and that those players make mistakes too. I'm going to reiterate what I said. Social media is not a real reality, right? It is a very constructed reality, and it's very based
Yeah,
on things that you do.
yeah, it was really interesting. Kevin Durant said something about, you guys all know Kevin Durant, right? NBA.
Yeah. Look him up if you
Hard,
don't. He's gonna Hall of Fame.
hardworking guy, okay?
Yeah.
Hardworking, devoted, committed. And he said that he doesn't like phones for kids because all they do is show highlight reels.
Right.
He goes, but no one shows you the injuries. No one shows you that I had to work forever on how to dunk and how to do it properly, and that I don't just get to dunk unless we're green lit.
Right.
And dunking is a technique that can take years. I'm only allowed to do layups. I'm only allowed to take shots I'm 80% on.
Right.
So those are not what everyone's doing in practice. We work on fundamentals every day, the boring stuff. And I want you to know that. Like, he was really adamant about that. That's the same for hockey.
Right.
So if someone's doing a great shot, that there's 10,000 hours put into that shot in a pro level. So let's remember that. The other thing too is, be careful what you say online.
Right. Good point.
So your words matter. And if you're looking to go up in the world in hockey, you better be polite and kind or inspirational online. It rhymes, right? So make sure that when you're commenting, you leave something good, or don't comment at all.
Well, how about this, Larissa, as a litmus test? I think a question you can ask yourself: are you a different person online than when you're in the real world? Right.
It's usually yes. Right.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's good. So, and again, I'm an adult speaking, but when I'm online, I'm generally me, right? I mean, I'm a very positive person to begin with, so I'm usually writing positive things. But
Yeah.
the other thought too, and I think this is an important one for kids, and you just alluded to it. Not everything that goes through your mind has to be said or typed out or shared. And with that said, I am not telling you not to have an opinion, kids. I am not telling you not to speak your mind, but you should think before you speak and think before you type, because something's happening doesn't always mean you have to share what you think, but it's good to have those thoughts. Don't get me wrong. I think you know where I'm going with this.
Right. And also, like, I've worked on the other end when kids are drafting optics, the scouts, the advisors, they all look at your social media.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
so that's the other thing that we can talk about too, is setting up your actual professional account with an adult, if you're under 18, to show the scout who you are. They know your stats, they know your goals, they
Right.
know everything, but they don't know you. So if you're posting things, they want to see your work ethic. They want to see your grades, because actually you need a GPA of 2.5 to go north, south of the border or play in a NCAA school.
Yeah.
And
Which is very achievable, just for all you kids listening.
yeah, and we
Takes a
want to be
little bit
able
of
to
work.
make sure though that the optics of our work, our academics,
Yeah.
and they want to see if you're nice, if you're
Yeah.
a good leader. I had 2 NHL scouts the other day. Okay, what do you think about this kid? I went, oh no, hardworking,
Yeah.
serious, tries hard, smart, kind, is a good leader. Okay, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Because they want behaviors that are reliable. And those online, they're going to look down and see if you're putting anything online that's inappropriate.
Well, and just to add what you just said, every NHL executive, coach, or person of power that I've ever spoken to across the board
Mhm.
has always said character is one of the biggest pieces
Correct.
to them looking at players. And it's
Yep.
very, it's easy to judge skill, especially today when there's unlimited amounts of it. Characters can be easy if you portray it, right? It can also be really hard if you're not doing it the right way. And we've seen it in recent years. A lot of athletes are having problems because of what they post on social media. Sometimes they should, sometimes they shouldn't. That's up to the eye of the beholder. Larissa, I do want to go to this too, just to close this out. I said at the beginning of the episodes, look, phones, screens, they're not going anywhere. I'm not going to make the idea that they're going to disappear from humanity. It's regulating them and understanding them as a young kid to make sure that you make them work for you and you're not working for them. But there all are alternatives. Something you brought up on the main episode.
Oh,
There's a difference between a phone and a mobile device with social media. It might be smart just to have something with a phone function where you can make the calls that you need to make and you can contact the people you need to contact, but it's limited. Kids, that's a really great idea for you. I know that sounds bad, but if you want to be great at hockey, that's one. Another one, I've heard so many kids, well, my phone's my alarm. My mobile device is my alarm. I'll tell you what I did in our house, and our kids love it. We bought some Amazon Alexas with no screen, just the audio device that you can only talk to it. And they every night, hey, wake me up at 7:30 a.m. tomorrow. It's also great for quick questions for maybe your homework and things like that. If you don't have time, right? Alternatives that do not have a screen with them. Technology is great. I mean, there's plenty of. And we also talked about the little gizmo watches that you can carry around with limited functionality.
There's some really great watches that stateside. As a Canadian, we can't get a hold of a lot of these Trumi phones. Trumi phones are probably the best.
Right.
If your kids can't control their phone use, parents and kids, if you can't control it yourself, then put control apps on the things that you can't control, so you stay low in your dopamine. So you can actually do this yourself, and it will help you to stay in green to go beast mode, because you want to go beast mode and you want to be consistent.
100%.
And if the dopamine or like your heart rate's really high all the time, your brain doesn't think as quickly, right? And then you don't make the good decisions. So that's where it's a cycle.
And the last question I have, and again, this is an important one. So kids, I'm going to ask Larissa to tell you how many hours a day you really should be on a screen. And you're all going to have to sit for a minute and really think if you're over or under this. It's going to surprise you, but what she is going to say is based in science. It is not a recommendation so much as it is a proven scientific fact. So what she says to you, if you want to go beast mode, and I love that you keep saying that.
Yeah, we don't want fear mode.
This is how you do it. Yeah. So Larissa, I'll ask it. How many hours a day should these kids be spending on their phone or in front of a screen?
Do you really want to know?
I do. I want them to know.
It's 1 hour by 4 pediatric societies. 4 of them globally all suggest 1 hour, because kids can't manage their thoughts, learn, develop, and do the learning they need to do off a phone. Like, they've got to do it off a phone in order to be a productive, younger adult. So 1 hour. So divide that time up how you need to balance it. But if you're trying to perform at a D1 level, high school level, or U16 AAA level, 4 hours a day is not going to do it. 3 hours a day is not going to do it. Our Olympic athletes are under 2 hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're putting the work in. And I'll say this too. This is for whatever you want to pursue, especially for the younger kids that listen to this. If it's hockey, if it's art, if it's dance, if it's
Acting,
anything.
don't care.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're getting the answer here. And again, your brain's going to go, I can't do that. You can. We both believe that you can. I know your parents are probably listening to you with this. You can both do it. Parents, you play a role in this too. You know it. It's very easy to give tablets out. You play a role in this too. I have been so inspired by you, and we have actually implemented a lot of this stuff into my own home.
Thank you.
I've learned so much from you, and that is why, kids, we wanted to share her with you today. Larissa Mills, thank you so much for being on the Ride to the Rink.
Thanks, man. Thanks, guys, and good luck, everybody. If you need help, come get it.
I was just going to say, if you have a question for Larissa or us, remember there's a link accompanying this episode in the show notes. You can tap it and text us directly, or if you have an email, you can email us at team@ourkidsplayhockey.com. We love to hear from you, kids, and any questions that you have that you want us to focus on the Ride to the Rink. But that's going to do it for this week. We wish you the best out there. Get that phone time down, my friends. It'll help you out a lot. But remember, always, we believe in you. You should too. We'll see you on the next Ride to the Rink, everybody. Skate on.